David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today, I have for you the latest new offering from Montegrappa, and that is the Montegrappa 10 Commandments. I have 5 different versions of this pen to show you. There are 2 limited edition fountain pens, there's an open edition fountain pen, and then there's a rollerball and ballpoint, which are also part of the open edition. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of these pens, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Kenro Industries for providing these pens on loan for review. Kenro is the U.S. distributor of Montegrappa, as well as several other brands. They just added Auto Hut. I've yet to review a pen from Auto Hut, so I might need to do that sooner rather than later. They look like they have some interesting designs. Now, while this pen has some overt religious themes, the religion per se will not be a topic of this video. You are free to believe what you believe, and I am free to believe what I believe. We are not going to change each other's minds, but we can be nice to one another, especially in the YouTube comments below. Now, since I do have 5 different pens to show you, this video might be a bit longer than normal, but I think that even if you're not a person who has a deep personal connection to the theme of this pen, you could at least find the discussion about the pen and what goes into making it an interesting one. And in order to begin that discussion, please join me over here at camera 2. Now, as I mentioned, with this pen, there are 2 limited edition models, which are available in both fountain and rollerball, and then there is an open edition available in fountain, rollerball, and ballpoint. To begin with, let's take a look at the limited edition fountain pen models. And you can see I have a little bit of a wider view here because I wanted to show you this very nice box that they come in. I kind of like this box. It's a little bit more compact than you see on some other high-end pens. It's nice wood. Has the Montegrappa logo on the front. It is held together by some magnets. I will say that the magnets can be a little bit tight, so sometimes it takes a little bit of intention to get this open. But once you do, let me turn this around the other way. Even though it's slightly upside down, you can get a better look at it with the lid. There is room here for a Montegrappa ink bottle. I'm assuming that it arrives with them. Montegrappa has some octagonal ink bottles there that fit in there. There is this little cloth. This is not a polishing cloth. It's just a protective cloth. And underneath we have the pen. Let me go ahead and just set this aside for a second. Underneath the tray, there is a polishing cloth, which is nice for this pen, and then also a use and care guide. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here now so we can get a closer look at these pens. And here are the pens. This is the Montegrappa 10 Commandments, and this is in the vermeil trim, and this is in the sterling silver trim. These are small batch limited edition pens. There is only 100 of each color of these fountain pens. They are also offered in rollerballs, and for the rollerballs, there's going to only be 25 of each of these colors available. To begin with, let's take a look at the vermeil model. The pen has a combination of Judaic as well as Christian motifs from some of Europe's leading religious and cultural sites. The barrel is made from Montegrappa's new proprietary artisanal resin called Montegrappite. It's made in Italy and in small batches. It's only a couple of miles from Montegrappa's headquarters. I really like the looks of this resin. Since the colors of this resin are mixed by hand, no 2 pens are going to look exactly alike. And then this is what the blue looks like. Again, really nice material. I'm really liking the mix of colors and shade and lines in here. That I really hope that this is a material they use on other new designs. On this model here, on the blue model, this is sterling silver on the trim. And then on this red model, the trim is gold vermeil. If you're not familiar, vermeil is sterling silver that's plated with a thin layer of gold. Typically, this is done by electroplating the silver with the gold, which is a chemical process which uses an electrical current to bind the two metals together. Essentially, it's gold plating. Gold plating and vermeil are the very same thing. The only difference is the base metal of the plated item is typically a metal like copper or brass, as opposed to the sterling silver of vermeil. In regard to the sterling silver of the blue, this silver will tarnish over time. In my opinion, this wouldn't be a pen that you would want to let tarnish. It might add some character and depth to the cap, but I feel the rest of the trim, as well as the section here, is going to look best if it stays clean and polished. Okay, let's take a look at the cap on the silver model here. I think it shows up on camera just a little bit better. There is a lot going on this cap. It is created with a lost wax casting technique. And to begin with, you can see the edge of the cap is shaped like a pointed crown. There are 8 shallow points encircling the top. Then inlaid on the very top is a piece of the same material that you find on the barrel. Then this is what that inlay looks on the red model. I think that looks really sharp and matches well with the rest of the pen. Same with the blue. Around the edge of the crown, the words 10 Commandments are engraved in both English and in Hebrew. And then we have this rather stoic clip. Miniature stone tablets depicting the 10 commandments sit atop the clip inspired by Michelangelo's sculpture of Moses at the Church of San Pietro in Vincoli, which is located in Rome, Italy. When I hold this upside down, you can see how the designs are similar. And the overall design of this cap is inspired by the architecture of Prague's Spanish synagogue in Czechia. It looks like a beautiful building. That ceiling is amazing. I just love how it flows. There are 2 stone tablets depicted on either side of the clip, each containing Roman numerals. We have 1 through 5 and 6 through 10. Then we have this very interesting piece of art. It is a depiction of Moses on Mount Sinai from Gustave Doré's Moses Breaking the Tablets of the Law. There's some really nice detail here. One detail that I really like are the lines here in the background. Here is Doré's sketch, and if you look closely in the background, you could see that it is comprised of a bunch of horizontal lines. Those lines translated well over to the design of this cap. Then at the base of the cap, there is a band containing Montegrappa's name, as well as their octagonal design. On the back here, it says made in Italy and has the sterling silver and maker's marks. There is a bit of a step down to the barrel, but that's offset by the rather bulbous design of the barrel, which rises and then tapers back down until you reach the end here, where you have a rather narrow piston knob, and on the back of the knob is the number of this pen. As I mentioned, there are 100 available of each color. The cap unscrews with a rotation and a half, and underneath we have this 18-karat gold nib. The bottom portion details on this pen are stamped, and the company name as well as the octagonal design are engraved. I really like the looks of Montegrappa's nibs. This nib is available in extra fine, fine, medium, broad, double broad, and a 1.1 stub. And turning it over, this is a look at the ebonite feed. This is a low-profile look, and it's one of my favorite feed designs. I've always felt that designs like this look rather sleek. This section here is rather large, thick, and a bit slick. I will say that my natural grip really works with the design of this pen. The curvature of my thumb really works with the curvature of the barrel. Maybe I need to do a video and call it the 10 Commandments, but maybe one of those commandments need to be thou shalt not have a slick metal section. That would definitely make my tablets. Now, I think the section here looks beautiful, and it really works well with the overall design of this pen. Maybe they could have made the section out of the same resin as the barrel. That might have worked. But I understand that it looks nice, but I do find it to be just a little bit slick. Now, the pen does post, but I wouldn't have that to be advisable. This cap weighs more than the rest of the pen, so having it on here significantly backweights this pen. So you're going to want to use this pen unposted. I mentioned it previously, but this is a piston filler. The piston knob on the back of the barrel is rather narrow, and with it being metal, I find it also to be a little bit slick. It can be tough to get a grip on this sometimes. Maybe if the knob were just slightly larger, it would have helped. Or maybe if it had like a reeded edge, like the grooves encircling a coin, but maybe those grooves wouldn't have fit in as well with the sleek lines of this pen. So there is the limited edition. So let's actually take a quick look at the open edition. I won't go into as much detail, but you'll get a good feel for it. And then we'll do some size comparisons and then a writing sample with the red vermeil model. Here is a look at the open edition. It is based on Montegrappa's Fortuna model. On the end here, it is inlaid with a disc which has 1912 on it, which was the year the company was founded. The cap design mirrors that of the limited edition model, but it's engraved and then filled with gold-colored application. I don't believe it contains actual gold. The company posted a video showing how the coloring application is applied. It's a quick video, but I think it's interesting. It's kind of cool to see the lettering come to life. I'll put a link to it in the notes below, as well as links to where you can see additional detail and pictures of all of these pens on the Kenro site. The barrel of the pen has the 10 Commandments in both English and Hebrew. The cap unscrews, and underneath there is a number 6 stainless steel nib. The Montegrappa's nibs are actually made by Jovo, and then here is the plastic feed. The pen is resin and isn't overly heavy. While posting the cap does add a bit of length to this pen, that I do find it to be very usable posted. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges and a converter is provided. The Fortuna model is one that I have my eyes on for a while. There have been a couple of different models that I've been very close to picking up. I have a feeling that sooner or later one will enter my collection. While I typically prefer silver trim, I feel that the gold trim here is more appropriate for this pen and really matches well with this gold-filled design. Just to show a comparison between these nibs, here on the left is the open edition, and here on the right is the limited edition, and you can see the limited edition gold nib is a little bit larger. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. There is the limited edition model, and then here is the open edition. Here it is with a Mont Blanc 149. Here it is with a Pilot Custom Urushi. And here it is with a Classic Pens LB5. Then in regard to 3 pens that you might be seeing reviewed here in the very near future, this pen is from Enso, and I believe it's called the Italia. And then this pen is from a Philippine manufacturer, and that is Kasama. And you know what? I'm not quite sure of the name of this pen. It's either the Una or the Tala. I guess I'll need to find out before I actually do the review. And then finally, I have a pen from Matthew Martin, and I believe this is called the Original. Now, this is a metal pen, and just check out the detail here on the barrel. I just think that is incredible. I love that design. And then even how the underneath portion of the barrel does have some curvature to it. So I'm looking forward to getting a closer look at that pen, as well as these other ones as well. Okay, here we go with the Montegrappa The 10 Commandments. This is a medium 18 karat gold nib, and the ink that I'm using here today is from Montegrappa. And it is from their Harry Potter line. And it is the Night Bus Purple. This is what the purple looks like. I believe there's 5 different inks in this series. I do have 2 other ones. This one is the Gryffindor Red, as well as the Slytherin Green. In regard to some other purples, this is what it looks like in comparison to Cross Violet. I find the Nice Bus Purple to be rather saturated, not quite as saturated as the Cross Violet, which is one of my favorite purples, but nice. And then this is what it looks like with Diamine Purple Rain, which is a nice deep purple but has some nice sheen to it. Okay, here we go with the rest of the writing sample. As you would expect, well, that was me writing here, or not actually getting the nib on the paper. But I do find that you can get some decent line variation without pushing it too hard with this pen. It does have very nice ink flow to it. It's fairly juicy in regard to some reverse writing. I do find that it's a little bit on the scratchy side. And in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up just fine. Okay, let's talk about pricing. From the most expensive to the least expensive, the red Vermeil model retails through authorized Montegrappa dealers for just over $4,000. Then we have the blue sterling silver model, which sells for about $3,600. The roller balls for the limited edition models sell for about $500 less each. Then we have the open edition, and this is the Fortuna model, and that one sells for $445. Then we have the open edition rollerball. This is what the open edition rollerball looks like, and that one sells for $425. And then finally here is the open edition ballpoint. You can see that it doesn't have a cap. It just rotates open and closed. And this one retails for $400. I have seen the pricing on the limited edition models vary greatly depending on the retailer, so it might be worth shopping around if you are interested in making a purchase. In the end, I feel that each of these pens really accomplishes what it sets out to do. There are things about each that I care for. I think the overall highlight for me was this new resin. I really care for the look. And as I mentioned previously, I hope that they incorporate this resin into some of their other models, which are more accessible to the general public. Thanks again. Go out to Kenro Industries for the loan of these pens. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.